According to the book, The Sober Truth, the national statistics for sustained recovery are 5 to 10%. Hand in hand, Lake County, a local nonprofit, however, with his Powerhouse of Recovery and the Ruth House, has a significant rise in our success, 46 to 65%. Hi, my name's Rebecca, and I'm also the founder and the director of Ruth House. In a survey reported by the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids and the New York Office of Alcoholism and Substance Abuse shows us that 10% of all Americans 18 and older consider themselves to be in recovery. These national representative figures indicate for us that there are 23.5 million Americans who are overcoming their involvement with substance abuse. Here in America, we punish our addicts through the criminal justice system. They break the law, they get arrested, and they begin their careers in the criminal justice system. There are more people incarcerated today for drug offenses than there have been really in any time of our history. According to the Sentencing Project, the War on Drugs, 1982, there were 40,900 people incarcerated in 1980, while there were 469,545 in 2005. According to the National Institute for Drug Abuse, the estimated total cost of substance abuse to include the cost of productivity, health care, and crime-related costs is $600 billion annually. At transitional houses like his Powerhouse and the Ruth House, we are able to build community with our residents. We teach reparenting, we go through issues of trauma, as well as life skills. At Ruth House, we also are able to include the kids in this process to some degree. Everyone who comes to his Powerhouse or the Ruth House finds that there is some trauma that needs to be addressed in addition to the addiction work that we do. In the book, The Life Model, we read that there are two types of traumas in brain science. Trauma type A, which is neglect, the lack of necessary good things, malnutrition, abandonment, and a lack of joy in the home are the things that are associated with that. Trauma type B is the big deal: murder, rape, child molestation, those kinds of things. It's important for us to know what the trauma is so that we will know where to go to work. One of the most unique things about Ruth House is that when we have a client who is in crisis, a trigger, we're able to work with her not only to help her for that current situation, but also to follow the trail back to the original source of pain. We also go through several processes there where we teach day-to-day life skills that are necessary for us to live by. It's the home setting that helps us build community in order to do that. Johann Hari, in his book entitled Chasing the Scream and his TED Talk, Everything You Know About Recovery is Wrong, he talks about an experiment called Rat Park. The reason for Rat Park was they were aware that the American soldiers who were in Vietnam were using heroin and hallucinogenic drugs. It was thought that when they came back to the United States of America, that we would have an influx of addicts. However, that's not what happened. What we saw was those soldiers who came back to the United States of America, who came and engaged in community and loving, supportive families, they stopped using right away. However, the addicts who came back to the United States, they continued to use, or the ones who didn't have those support systems continued to use. In the experiment, they had a cage with 1 rat and 2 bottles of water. 1 bottle of water had plain water, and the other bottle had water laced with heroin. The rat tasted both of the water bottles, and the 1 rat continued to go back and forth to the heroin-laced bottle to the point of death. At that point, they took a community of rats and they put that community in the same cage with the same 2 bottles of water. All the rats tasted both types of water, and the community of rats never went back to the heroin-laced water. We learn in that experience that it confirms for us that community living helps with the support system, not only the support system, but we couple that with a systematic approach to treatment concerning addiction, issues of trauma, and life skills. When a woman at Ruth House finds herself in a conflict, a trigger, we have understood through the psychology of that what is going on in her mind. The right-hand side of our brains is our emotional center. It takes a picture of everything that you have ever done in your entire life, never forgets it, and immediately connects it to an emotion. Our left-hand side of our brain is our cognitive center, how we learn to problem solve, make bacon and eggs, those kinds of things. Well, what happens when we're having a trigger or we're in conflict is our right brain swallows up our left brain's ability to process and problem solve. So what do we do with that? We sit the girl down, and whoever might be involved with that particular trigger, that conflict, we have them all together. Sometimes it's the entire community that talks with them. And so we help them to stay in that emotion, in that memory, at the same time that we're helping them to ground and know that they're safe and they're in a safe place. And what happens then is really remarkable. The 2 halves of the brain connect and healing happens. Every single time we are able to bring that about, more and more in our heads and our hearts get healed. We are so excited about that because when we come to a place of healing, it helps us to be more focused on the things that we need to do, recovery work or parenting. It helps us to do life skills, learn how to do them. And by doing so, we have found that it just increases their ability to remain in recovery. Everyone has been affected by substance abuse. Those who have not but don't use, and those who do. Through community living, we have found that we can restore family relationships, we can help people begin to be restored themselves, and they begin to be productive members of their communities, connected to their communities, and they begin to thrive. They're happier, they're healthier, and they get to live the life that they were created to live. When a woman comes to Ruth House, oftentimes she has only the shoes on her feet and the clothes on her back. But through the grace of God, when they walk out the door, they're healed, and they know that they are fully known, fully loved, and fully accepted. Thank you so much.